Hi you guys! Welcome back to Home with My Glad. It's a channel I share with my husband Mike. Thank you for joining us again today. Today I want to make a video about my dogs. These were my first babies and they are still my babies and they're currently 13 and 14, and I just want to talk about what I've done throughout the years to care for them and to make sure they stayed healthy and happy, and that we just gave them everything they needed physically, emotionally, I guess intellectually, even that's important for dogs too. All of those things. So that's what this video is about, and it's actually also the start of my Real Talk series. This series is going to address different issues in my life. I'm taking the stance of somebody who's in the position to have given me advice at the beginning of whatever I was doing. So this video is tailored for new dog parents. This is basically going to describe what I wish I would have known when I first got Gabby, our first dog, whom I'm also going to show you. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the content of this video. Hi Gabby, are you my other baby? Sweetest thing. So I'm back. I put Smoochie down. I know he didn't want to join me for this whole video. I feel like I like snuggling him more than he likes to be snuggled. So yeah, he was a little uncomfortable. I just let him go. I think he's with Dad now. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have a note card of notes that I want to talk about just to keep me a little bit organized, so you know. Okay, the first thing I want to say is the most important thing to do when you have dogs is to get on the same level as your dogs. If you've never had a dog or been a dog parent or a pet parent of any kind, that's going to sound a little bit weird to you, maybe a little bit out there, a little crazy, but honestly, I had never had a dog before I got Gabby at the age of 23, and this helped me be able to care for a dog. Like, you need to mentally get on the dog's level. Like, dogs are beings just like people are beings. Like, both of my dogs are definitely beings. Are they legally considered property? Yes, they are. However, you cannot escape the fact that a dog is also a being. So you want to get on your dog's same level. What I mean by that is, if your dog is whining or barking or just anything a dog does, any noise a dog makes, it usually means something. Just like when people talk, it means something. When people cry, it means something. Your dog is the same way. You can't write it off as, oh, a dog is just a dog, it's gonna whine, whatever. Like, no. Like, for example, when we got Gabby, I noticed that she had a different bark for everything. Like, when she needed to go out, she whined when she needed to eat. Just, what else do dogs need to do? If she was tired, she would walk around us at the end of the night and ask us to go to bed. She actually still does that to this day. So I really think it's important to try and understand your dog as a being, as a soul, as another person almost, because that is what it is. If you're gonna get a dog and spend all of your time at home with the dog, because that's what you're gonna do if you get a dog, you're not just gonna leave it alone in a room and or leave it outside. Hopefully you're not gonna do this, because that's not what I would recommend, and that's not a positive atmosphere for a dog. You're not gonna leave it outside to be a guard dog. Like, most people, when they get a dog, they're gonna want it for companionship. And if you want a dog for companionship, you need to learn to understand this dog as a being. So that is my number one piece of advice to you. Like, however that dog is, whatever it needs, learn to understand its cues and its whines, its cries, its barks, its physical communication. Dogs communicate a lot with their tail. I don't have the expertise to go into it with you about like what the tail means, like down, up, sideways, whatever. Like, I'm not a dog expert like in that sense, but I am telling you that I've learned to read my own dogs, and I definitely do think dogs communicate with their tail, by their stance, everything. So learn to understand your dog as a being, and it's going to make your life and their life a whole lot easier. So that's kind of like a broader aspect. When it comes to having a dog, it isn't as technical as what I'm about to go into, like all the steps of having a dog and all the recommendations for having a dog that I'm going to go into, but it'll make all of these following recommendations a lot easier. The second thing I'm going to say is, we got Gabby when we were 23. I had never really like wanted kids or a dog right away. We got married. If you watched one of my other videos, I think it's like having a baby below 35. I mentioned that we got married really young at the age of 19, so we wanted to wait a bit before we had kids. I also had never had dogs, so I never thought about having a pet as a dog, but my husband had, and he wanted a dog, and so he's the reason we went out and got a dog. So yeah, like I'd never had one, and this was an entirely new experience for me. So we were living in Orlando at the time, and our first dog is Gabby, who's now 14. She's a black and tan dog, and we got her from a rescue place in Orlando. This place took in stray dogs, and they had her and her brother. And I never even took a look at her brother. I wish I had to this day. Like I wish I had looked at her brother and maybe even like adopted her brother. But we got Gabby because I will never forget Gabby. The second she saw us, she like stood still. All the other little puppies were on top of this other dog in the cage and like climbing this other kind of mama dog in the cage. But Gabby was like by herself, standing still, this little black and tan puppy. She was like 5 pounds and just staring at us. And I'm like, I want to see that one, because she was just staring at us by herself, really curious about who we were. So she comes out of the cage, and the first thing she does is she comes to me, and I'm kneeling down because she's this tiny puppy, and she puts her paw on me and licks my knee. And I was in love. I have been in love with this dog from that day to this day, and that was more than 14 years ago. So yeah, that was my first experience when we got Gabby. So we had Gabby for almost a year before we got Smoochie. Smoochie's now 13, because we thought she needed some companionship. And when we got Smoochie, I thought that he would be the same as Gabby. I thought he'd be super playful, always wanting to go out like every hour, all this energy. Like Gabby is like still to this day very energetic, very anxious. She's kind of an anxious dog. Just a typical dog, very hyper and like just, I don't know. Well, I guess she's not so hyper anymore because she's older, but she used to be like a lot more hyper, but she's still anxious and very like schedule oriented, and she gets bored easily. She needs to eat at a certain time. So that was Gabby. I expected for Smoochie to be the same way. Smoochie's a Shih Tzu. So when we got Smoochie, I remember bringing him home, and we put him with Gabby because, you know, we got him to play with Gabby. That was our thought. Like we needed a companion for Gabby. So we expected him to play with Gabby. And then we put them together, and I realized, this might not happen. Like, he literally just walked away. He had no interest in playing. He just had an interest in laying by me and being there. Like, that is what he does to this day. He lays by me and is there and is a little lap dog. Like, he doesn't care about playing, or he doesn't like toys. The only thing he likes is bones, which we can't give him anymore because one time he swallowed one and Mike had to pull it out of his mouth. Thank God Mike was home. He pulled it out of his like windpipe, and because he was choking on it. But they're completely different dogs. They have played in the past. I could probably count on all 10 fingers like how many times they've played together in the past. Playing meaning like running after each other or barking and having fun. They've done that, but like, no, that is not something they do regularly. They are two completely different dogs. So that's my second thing I want to say. Do not expect two dogs to be the same, even if they're the same breed. Again, dogs are their own beings, their own persons. None of them are going to act exactly like another. So don't expect your dog to be the same as another dog, or expect it to behave a certain way. It might not. So yeah, like don't have that expectation. That'll also make life easier for both of you, or all three of you if you're gonna get two dogs. Third piece of advice is you should get dog reimbursement insurance. Now, when we first got Gabby, we took her to Petco and got like the vaccine reimbursement plan that they had. Or no, it wasn't a reimbursement plan. It was like you pay monthly and it covers the vaccines that the dog needs for the year. It even covered like a teeth treatment, which is really good. Like, it's called Banfield. So a maintenance plan for your dog is not the same as reimbursement dog insurance. The way that reimbursement insurance works is it's going to reimburse you for the money that you spend to care for your dog health-wise. So any vet visits, anything like that. Like our dog insurance is what is it called? Healthy Pet, and it covers anything that isn't pre-existing before we got the Healthy Pet insurance, and anything that isn't regular maintenance. So it'll cover, like, it won't reimburse us for doctor's visits or regular shots, or I think medicines. I don't know if it reimburses us for medicines or not. I don't know, but I really love that pet insurance. Like, if anybody from Healthy Paws is watching, like, you guys are great. I just simply submit my claim through like this app on my phone, and they reimburse me. And then they tell me like, this was covered, this was not. And we got it when Gabby and Smoochie were, well, Gabby was 8 and I think Smoochie was 7. And I think that they were past the age limit for the $100 deductible. So our deductible is $500 a year for each pet. So they'll cover anything that is coverable above that $500 per pet. And then we pay a monthly fee towards this insurance. So I highly recommend getting an insurance like this. We've used it numerous times in the past. A couple years ago, Smoochie got this really weird cough from being boarded. We do vaccinate them. That is further down on my list. But he still, because they're older, got this strain that he hadn't been vaccinated against, Bordetella. So he had it for like 2 months, and we took him to the vet numerous times because he was just coughing and hacking like a lot, and we couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. He always coughed and hacked. So we took him, and we spent about $2,500 total on treating Smoochie for this particular issue. And I think I was reimbursed. I was definitely reimbursed 70% of whatever total amount that I spent. And I was really pleased with Healthy Paws for doing that. So I'd highly recommend getting reimbursement insurance. That the younger the pet is when you get it, the lower the deductible is going to be, and likely the lower the payment that you're going to make every month or every year, however you decide to pay it, is going to be. So you know. But that is a very important recommendation. You never know if your pet's going to get bitten by something and have some sort of reaction, or eat something weird and have to go to the vet and like get all of these expensive treatments. So that is something you definitely are going to want to do. Next thing I want to say is it's very, very important for you to take your pet to the vet whenever it's due for vet visits and regular shots and regular maintenance. You don't want to skip out on shots. I'm not sure what all shots that they're supposed to get. Even now, this day I've had them for so long. They get shots regularly, like every 3 months. And off the top of my head, I'm gonna say I think it's rabies, distemper, parvo, some sort of like pet flu, just all kinds of shots that they're supposed to get. Keep up on their shots because it's really important for their health. Specifically, if you're gonna ever board them at any boarding facilities, this is really important. You're not gonna be able to board them if they don't have all of their required shots, depending on the boarding facility, which is, from my experience, pretty like straight above the board. Most of them require particular sets of shots to be up to date. So you're gonna wanna keep your dogs, like have them regularly checked out so you can make sure that they don't have any underlying health issues that you can't see that aren't obvious. And you're gonna wanna keep their shots up to date for their health and for boarding and just for a lot of other reasons. Another thing is you're going to want to keep them up to date on flea and tick treatment and on heartworm medication. You're supposed to give them both of these every month. Since they were little, I have like always given them the flea treatment and the heartworm medication from the vet. That's another thing. They're going to need heartworm and flea to be boarded if you ever go anywhere and you have to board them. But it's also healthy for them. Like, we have recently moved to Georgia. We live really close to the woods. I would not let my dogs out if, well, I'd always have to let my dogs out, but they would be a lot more flea and tick infested than they are, which they're not, if I did not give them their flea and tick medication. So that's really important. One time, Gabby got fleas when we were really young, and I forgot one month, or I was late. She actually got fleas, and oh gosh, she was like a year old, and it was gross. Like, there were these little things on her belly that I had never seen before, and she was itchy, and fleas can get in your house and get on your, just all, anything, any soft surfaces in your house. Like, it's gross. You do not want your dog to get fleas. You don't want your dogs to get ticks. Nothing like that. It's gross. You have to handle it. And like, you might have to take them to get special flea baths, which can get expensive at the vet or at boarding places. So definitely stay up to date on your flea and tick medication. Another thing I want to mention is grooming. We did not know that you were supposed to groom your dog regularly when we first got Gabby. I remember, like, I mean, we were super young when we got her, so we didn't know anything about having a dog, or thank God we weren't parents at that time. But like, yeah, we didn't know you were supposed to groom your dog regularly. And randomly, we decided to take Gabby and Smoochie for grooming once, when I think Gabby was like 6 months. Like, we had like given her baths at home if she got dirty, but we didn't know that you had to like cut their hair, and that they needed their nails trimmed and their ears cleaned out, and like their anal glands expressed, which I'm gonna go into at the end of this little snip. But yeah, you need to groom your dog like at least every You should bathe them at home, or if you want to take them somewhere to get bathed, at least every 2 weeks, if not every week, which I think is even better. Not every day. Their skin will dry out if you do it every day. But like you can do it every week or 2 weeks. Definitely once a month at least, you should get them groomed. Like take them to the groomer, have the hair around their face cut or their ears, or if they have long hair, like have their body trimmed. Or actually for Gabby and Smooshy, when we get them groomed, I really like them to get summer cuts all around their body because they both have kind of long hair. So it's less maintenance for us, like brushing, and less likely that they'll get any sort of like ticks or anything in there. They haven't got them, but like just in case, I want to be able to see if something's going on with my dog. So I try to groom my dogs every month. If I don't make it every month, every other month, but it's really important to groom them regularly. You can't just let your dog go and not do any grooming to your dog. Like your dog is very similar to you. Like they're another being, like I was saying before, they're going to need their hair washed. Like would you go a month or even a week? Would you go a week without washing your hair? I feel like that's a lot. Like, no, you need to groom your dog regularly. It's really important for their health. You don't want them tracking in a bunch of dirt with all of their excess hair into your house. And like, just, you need to groom your dog regularly. It's important. All right, so I mentioned anal glands earlier. Gabby has leaky anal glands, and she's had them since she was a puppy. Again, she's a really anxious dog. So especially in the car, like if we go anywhere, which we tend to do a lot here, like if we take her in the car, she gets really nervous in the car, especially on the interstate. She can like tell the car is going fast, and like the bumps and stuff, she feels nervous. But she, just gets really nervous and has leaky anal glands. So we actually have to put a diaper on our dog. She looks like a little monkey when she's in the car with us. And definitely when you're grooming them, get their anal glands expressed. Like specifically state you want to do this. Some groomers charge an additional fee for this. Others, if you do like a full bath and like a hair cutting, they will automatically express the anal glands. But that's really important because if the dog has leaky anal glands, you're going to regret not having done it. It stinks if it leaks. It smells disgusting. I don't even know what it smells like. It smells gross. Like you do not want to have leaky anal gland juice all over your car or your house or wherever. Like it's gross. You got to address that. And about the car, we put our dogs in seatbelts. There are a lot of ways to travel with your dogs that are recommended that are safe. I am not an expert on what all those ways are. We have put our dogs in seatbelts whenever we traveled with them, and we've moved lots of places, so they've gone a lot of places with us in the car for at least the last 10 years, I want to say. I currently use, I think it's called Mighty Paw. It's like a seatbelt that you like attach to the little U-shaped thing where actually the car seat also attaches in your car. You attach it there and then you attach it to your dog instead of the seatbelt holder, which can actually come loose on accident if they step on it. So like this Mighty Paw thing attaches to that, attaches to like their little paw or their little harness that they have, and that is their seatbelt. This way, the dog can't roll off the seat, and if you were to get in a wreck, it's not gonna like fly out the window. You do want to research like which seatbelts are best. This one seemed really sturdy to me. Like some seem weaker than others. Like you want to get a really good seatbelt that has good ratings, good description. You feel like you're securing your dog to the seat, so it's not gonna fly out and it's not gonna just snap in half if you have a wreck. And also you want to invest in a really, really sturdy feeling harness. It can't come apart that easily, not for car purposes. Make sure the harness seems really tight. Again, read reviews. Like different companies have all kinds of like dog seatbelts, things like that. Like read reviews and just do your research about which ones you think are sturdy and good. But both pieces, you're gonna want to be really secure. Also, if you decide not to put your dog in a seatbelt and do a crate, or I know that they have like these little baskets that you put them in the seat so your seat doesn't get dirty. Make sure the dog is at least tied down, and make sure the dog isn't gonna like, if you do have a crash, it's not gonna fly out the window, or the seatbelt isn't gonna like snap in half due to the like force of the accident. So highly recommend dog seatbelts for your dog. Next thing, you have to let your dogs out regularly, like every 4 hours. When they're puppies, they need to go out every hour. I remember when we first got Gabby, it was like having a newborn baby. It was like, oh, Delilah was like on another level. A newborn baby is kind of on another level, but she still needed to go out like every hour to 2 hours at night for the first week that we had her. So a puppy is a lot like having a newborn baby. Like they're gonna want to go out that often. So think about it. A lot of people have like 9 to 5 jobs. You have to plan for your dog during that time. You can't put it in a crate and expect it not to go potty when it's in the crate that whole time. For the longest time, we actually, when we lived in Miami, we had a lady who helped us a lot. Her name was Anna, and she was exceptional. She helped us and she took the dogs out for lunch for 4 or 5 years. To this day, I'll forever be grateful for everything she did for my dogs. She would send me pictures every day. And she like would give them treats. She would buy them treats to give them and like would give them treats every day. So I didn't have to worry about my dogs when I was at work because of her. She's an angel. She's a beautiful being. Also, she like kind of was like, she got that you had to be on the same level as dogs. And she actually had this, she did this service for a lot of people in the neighborhood that we were at the time. So yeah, I would definitely say it's very important to let them out regularly and plan to take care of your dogs. Even if you have a long work day, it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit of dog abuse if you leave the dog in a cage for like 10 hours, or even if you leave it in your house and you know it's potty trained and it's not going to go potty everywhere. If a dog has to hold its pee or poop for like that long, it's very unhealthy. Like I always think about like, how would I feel if I had to do that? Like, no, like your dog should not have to hold it for that long. You have to plan for your dog. You have to let it out regularly. Now, Gabby, she has to go out like every hour and a half. She is getting older, so I mean, and she's always been schedule oriented. So she tells me she like walks around anxiously when she needs to go out. She needs to go out every hour and a half. So, and another thing too, I want to throw in there. It's really important. Like if you do have an anxious dog, go to your vet and talk to them about different medications that they can have. Like Gabby actually needs medication for car rides. I think they gave her trazodone at the vet. I give her a lot less than the recommended dosage because I notice it like really kind of puts her out. She feels like she's out of it. She like can't really walk that well. But it's really important if your dog has anxieties to address those anxieties somehow, either with prescription medication from the vet or with holistic medication from like the health food store. There are actually dog food health food stores. I remember when we were living in Orlando, there was a place called Planet Health, and it had a lot of natural health foods for pets and health vitamins, everything like that for pets. So whichever way you decide to go, it's really important to address the dog's anxiety. Or even if you can somehow take it to therapy. I also know that there are like dog psychologists out there, psychiatrists out there. I don't know what technically the dog doctor for your brain is called, but there are psychiatrists and psychologists for dogs, or that will help your dog through any anxieties that it's having. So it's really important for you somehow to address their anxiety issues. The last thing I want to say kind of goes in line with the first thing that I said. You have to love your pets. Like, love your pets like they're your children. Are they your children? No. Are they going to have a much shorter lifespan than your children? Most likely. Are they considered property while your children are considered like legal beings? Yes. Like, that's irrelevant. None of that matters. Like, they're still there with you all the time. So I'm going to be upfront with you guys. Like, we have loved our dogs since the days we got them. They actually sleep with us. Like, I love them sleeping with us. I like think they're the sweetest things. I love looking over and making sure that they're all right. They're the sweetest things. I love them. They love us. We've all gotten used to each other. I don't know what we'd do without them, and vice versa. Like, we're so used to each other. So love your dogs so much, and it'll make taking care of them so much easier. Be patient. Give them what they need. Feed them when they need to be fed. I didn't address dog food, but quality dog food's the way to go all the way. Also, look at Dog Food Advisor for different like recommendations for dog food. They do a lot of ratings for different dog foods. It's really good. But yeah, love them. And by loving them, you're going to automatically give them the top quality care that they need. Don't skimp on their care. Even if you have children, which now I have a newborn baby, and I've been worried this will be an issue. And frankly, I have given a lot of my time to the baby that I used to give to the dogs, and it's been an adjustment process for all of us. But even if you have kids and stuff, that's no excuse to neglect your pet. Like, don't take on a pet if you can't handle the care of a pet. So yeah, that's my advice. If you have any more questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, GReyesWesca, or just comment down below. Whatever y'all want to do, like, reach out to me. Seriously, I love my dogs, and they're happy and healthy to this day because I feel like we've prioritized their needs. All right, so if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see future Real Talk videos, or I also do Scrumptious Sunday and Friday. I'm also going to start a new series called Swimsuit Saturday. That's actually the name of that one's going to change seasonally. Right now it's still summer, so I'm doing basically Saturday is going to be healthy dishes. It's going to be the counterpart of Friday. So look out for those, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos.